Hello, boys and girls. It's Craig Marr again. We're going to be looking at combinations today. We're going to be looking at the bishop sacrifice. Okay, first I'm going to give you a problem. Now, it's kind of a common pattern that I want you to learn and become familiar with, because that's how you get good. Chess positions rarely repeat exactly, from game to game, but certain patterns do repeat. So learning basic tactical patterns are your first step towards chess mastery. Here's our first problem. It's white to play. Okay, now this comes out of an Alekhine's defense. For you A players and experts, for you advanced players, it's pretty easy. It'll maybe take you 10 seconds to see the shot. But for you C players, take about a full minute and look for a combination. Well, time's up, boys and girls, but the computer is pointing out bishop takes pawn check, and now the computer kind of likes king up. But let's see what happens if the king captures the bishop. Then the computer's saying knight check, king back. Now you could come this way also. This is kind of dangerous to come up here. So the computer likes king back. And now the problem is here, I'm threatening to come in here with the queen. I'm threatening queen e6 check. And now let's say you go here. This is what the computer recommends. And now I could threaten mate this way, or I could just trade queens. But whatever the case, white is a great position. This I kind of like. This I really like. And you see that white is actually maybe has quite a bit of advantage in this position. But anyway, the point is that I've disrupted your king position, and I've got an extra pawn. And I think white should probably go on to win, because he has such a good position. Anyway, let's go from there to today's game with a similar theme. And let's start from the beginning, where I had black against some A player. Now we got a Ruy Lopez, and now look at this. I'm playing the very aggressive Schliemann defense. It's not really a defense, it's more of a counterattack. Black, instead of trying to defend the, kind of very passive Chigorin or some, very quiet kind of defensive game, black comes out and attacks. Now, you will never see the Schliemann played at the highest levels. You'll never see Nakamura play this. You will never see Carlsen play this, except in a bullet or a rapid game. In a serious classical game, this line is been worked out to be superior for white. But at the club level, it's a very dangerous weapon. That is such a lemon. He's giving up the 2 bishops. The main line is knight c3. So now my pawn structure is kind of broken up, but I have the 2 bishops. Now that's kind of bold. Now he's threatening queen up on h5 check. That's a real threat. So I've got to think of a way to... This is probably the best move. I'm bringing the knight in. I'm preventing the queen from checking me, and I'm putting pressure on the pawn. So that's an excellent developing move. He takes. I got to take back. And now he castles, and now I have to decide how am I going to develop this bishop. Am I coming out here? Not bad. Am I coming out here? This is so much more aggressive. I don't like you guys playing passively. Bishop e7, so passive. Here I'm threatening the knight, and I'm aiming possibly for a bishop sack on the king. So there's no question in my mind that this is the right move. Okay, now this is a human being. d4 is right. Now I could trade queens with bishop takes knight. And then we would also have opposite bishops. But I would be very much afraid of white's 4 versus 2 majority on the king side, which is probably winning. So I'm not going to trade the bishop for the knight. Castles is right. Yeah, this could be a dangerous pin. But one thing I'm realizing that I gotta get rid of this knight, but I don't want to trade it right away. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start kicking the bishop back, and now I'm undermining the outpost. This pawn on d4 is anchoring the knight, so I'm going to try to break up the outpost. One of the things is when you have 2 bishops, open up those lines. Now he wishes he had another pawn that he could support the knight. So this is an excellent move to finally undermine the supporting pawn for this knight. Just remember that in the middle game, your minor pieces always need support. Now this check is dangerous because if I go here, he's got knight f7 forking, and that would be very dangerous. It forces me to lose the exchange. So I go to a safe square, and now it's getting wild. I figure I can open up the game because I'm ahead in development. Now, the safest move, well, there is no safe move, okay? But he made a move which kind of looks good. He's forking the king and the queen. Okay, and so he's figuring, you know, well, I got to move it. I got to move the queen up to protect the bishop, don't I? Just remember, boom, remember what happened in today's practice problem. Same theme, but a different position, but with the same general idea of sacrificing the bishop and then checking with the knight and picking up not only a pawn, but a loose piece. This bishop on h4 is hanging. So if he retreats the king back here to g1, I'm simply going to take the bishop and threaten checkmate. And black is going to come out winning in that exchange. So he decided, well, I'm going to come up here. Now this is very dangerous. The king is exposed. It's very exposed. Now this check is very strong. The computer likes the check. Let's look at the analysis. The computer says, if we come up here, we see the computer says black is ahead 3.6. So that means white is busted. Okay, let's see how my opponent reacted. And don't forget, I'm not playing a computer here, I'm playing a human being. And they are much more prone to make mistakes. But that's the correct move. He's trying to hang on to the extra piece. But now I'm going to undermine the knight's outpost. And now there are two ways to try to defend. He can defend, as the computer suggests, queen d5. He can come in here with a queen. Okay? Now the question is, what would I do if he comes up here? Well, this is what I was going to do. I was going to rip it. And then he's going to play f4. And then I'm going to come back. He's going to come up with a knight. And then I have this powerful move. Knight takes bishop. King must capture. And now kaboom! That's a winner because he's going to have to lose the exchange. Because the computer's saying, you got to go back and you got to guard the F pawn. So, if he moves the rook, let's say up here, I'm going to come rook takes pawn check, and that's actually going to win. So black is going to end up winning the exchange. Let's go backwards a little bit, from here to here to here to here to here to here. Let's go all the way back to this position. Now, the move that the computer likes better, but it doesn't really matter, the queen d5 is going to lose, and then the move the computer likes, which was played, is also going to lose, because what happens, now the computer's suggesting knight d2, which looks like the right move, you know. But what would happen if instead of knight d2, he simply takes my knight? Well, I'm going to take with check, and now he's in serious trouble, because if you move the king, let's say back to f2, discover check wins the queen. Okay, does everybody see that? So therefore, he has to come up here. This is his best. And now we're in this deadly pin. We simply come here, and there's no way to protect the rook. And so he's going to be playing the exchange down, and black also has a winning attack. So this is curtains. Now let's look at what the alternative move is. The alternative move, which is suggested by the computer, is knight d2. This is far better than taking the knight. Now the computer, after knight d2, says black is still winning by 4.2 with the move g5. This is crazy. And then he says bishop has to take, and then I take back, and then black emerges with an extra piece, because the king has to go back, and now the attack simply continues, and black is a piece ahead. So let's kind of go back here to the starting position after I capture the knight. Well, in this position, my opponent resigned. because he realized that he's busted. So he didn't move the knight, he didn't capture the knight. He simply resigned because he knew it was all over. And thanks for watching, folks.